What is up, YouTube? KM888 here, and today I'm going to do some test hands for you guys. I've posted my deck profile of this deck yesterday, and the rest of the week I'm going to try and post some test hands. So I'm not going to go over this deck anymore. That's in a slow manner. I'm not going to explain that much anymore. But I am going to power shuffle, so you can see that I'm not stacking anything. I have no clue how to, but sometimes people do tend to accuse everyone. The deck is 42 cards at the moment, and the main goal is to summon Azathoth with some spell and trap negators on the board. So for our opening hand, we have Dragon Pit, we have a Dark Worm, Jackal King, Pendulum Call, and Harmonizing. Actually a really good hand. We have Pendulum Call, we have Dark Worm. What can go wrong, right? So let's go for it. I'm going to dump them in the graveyard. We already have the Harmonizing and we already have a high scale, so I'm gonna go for the Oath Dragon. Where is it? Oath. So we're having the Oath Dragon, and I'm going to add a White Wing Magician. The reason I go for White Wing Magician is because I don't see a way at the moment to go for a Destrudo. So I need a White Wing if I want to make a Borreload Savage Dragon. So this is our hand. Dark Worm effect, special summon it. Adding the gate 0. Now, of course, we don't know what we're going to draw as of yet. But we're definitely going to try and find out. So let's see. Let's see. So I'm going to normal summon the White Wing Magician because I'm planning to go with Chronograph for my high scale. That way I can do Oath Dragon Magician later in the turn. But for now, I'm going to make Electromite. And I'm making Electromite in the left extra monster zone. Electromite's effect is going to trigger, and I'm going to send a Chronograph. Now at this point I can also send like a Cerberus and go for the Basilisk play to get an additional draw on top of the Electromite, which would hand me 2 draws and actually give me a better shot at going for the Destrudo. But for now, this is definitely a good play. Using the 0 as a fodder, getting back the Chronograph, and then we get to draw. We're drawing into the Shrine, which is amazing. It's Destrudo. Yeah, I can't say anything about that, right? Oath Dragon and Chronograph in the scales. I don't really need the Oath Dragon's effect as of yet, but we're definitely gonna go for that. And for now we're going to Pendulum Summon. So I'm going to Pendulum Summon the gate 0. I'm going to Pendulum Summon the Dark Worm because I think I don't really need the White Wing as of now. I'm going to Pendulum Summon the Harmonizing and the Jackal King. Harmonizing's effect is going to trigger, and we're going to summon the Janky Magician because we want a second level 7 to go for our Vortex play. So making Vortex. Vortex is in the extra deck, of course. Absolute first. Now we can't make a Time Thief with these 2, so we're going to have to find a way to get a level 4 on board. Having a Jackal King is kinda stupid here, but oh well. I might have to go for the White Wing because I need it for this. Yeah, so go for the White Wing. That was a kind of stupid play for me, but summon the Time Thief Redoer. Now the Time Thief has an effect that where you, if you detach a monster, it banishes itself. So it gets banished. Where can I put it? Here. And it'll come back in the end phase, so the Harmonizing also goes to the graveyard. At this point, Chronograph's effect to the extra deck, and you're going to summon a Time Gazer. Now, these three monsters are here to make the PK link, so that's really important as well. Top card, of course it is. So at this point, I'm going to link up the Absolute with the Time Gazer. I'm going to make an underclock. The Absolute's effect is going to trigger, so Vortex is going to come out. And I'm going to put it in the zone underneath the Electromite, conform the usual. I really want to keep this zone free afterwards, so yeah. Linking away the Jackal King with the Underclock. You don't need Jackal King, it was just a monster to be summoned from the Pendulum. Because you need that for to make the PK link. So yeah. And because we're going to end on a Azathoth play, we are going to have monster negations enough, so we don't really need that. At this point, Dragon Pit in the scale, I'm going to use the Overdragon's effect because I haven't used it yet. And I'm getting the Time Gazer back. It's just a free plus at the moment because we've already used our normal summon. We're not going to summon this one, so it's just a free plus. PK Link is going to trigger. And I'm going to set the Shade Burgundy by sending the Cloak. I'm going to use the Cloak's effect, banish it, and we're going to add the Silent Boots to our hand. So now this is our hand. At this point I'm going to use the Dragon's Shrine. I'm going to send the Destrudo. I'm going to special summon the Silent Boots because I have the Rusty Bardish on the field, so as a PK monster, so I can special summon Silent Boots by its own effect. At this point I'm going to use the Destrudo, and this is where it gets a little bit different. Like, I'm going to target the Silent Boots for the Destrudo, so it actually becomes a level 4. So it's a level 4 Destrudo. And most people just make a level 7 like a Dragster right here, which you can do. You can make Dragster here, but you're going to lose out on the fact that that you can also summon a monster which stops monster effects. So it's actually better to summon a Borrowload Savage than to summon a alongside a Decode Talker than to just summon here the Dragster. So at this point I'm going to activate my Shade Burgundy, which summons itself in the final zone that I have left. I'm going to link away the Silent Boots with the Electromite to go for Decode Talker. And then I'm going to use my Silent Boots, banishing it. And I'm going to add the the Phantom Knight of Rank Up Magic Launch to my hand. Now this is the card that we're going to use to make Azathoth, of course, in the opponent's turn. But that's for then, and this is now. So I have a level 4, I have a level 4 tutor, I'm going to synchro with them. Now the reason I did the Boots effect first is so the Destrudo is going to the bottom of the deck. You really don't want to draw it. You rather want to send it with Dragon Shrine, Dragon Ravine, stuff like that. So if you draw that, you still have the Destrudo. It's a small chance to actually draw it, but you never know, of course. The reason we get rid of the Electromite before we make Borrowload Savage Dragon is because we are going to use Borrowload Savage Dragon to equip the Electromite and give this thing 2 counters. So at this point we have a Borrowload Savage Dragon with 2 possible negates. We have a Vortex Dragon with 3 Pendulums in the extra deck, which is really great. We have our Bardish. We're going to set the Rank Up Magic right here. We have a Time Gazer Magician left in our hand, just as a normal summon or whatever, because you don't really want to put that in the scale, but we have 2 indestructible Pendulum Magicians. Of course, no real target anymore in the extra deck. I don't really mind. I mean, this field is good enough. In the end phase, we're getting back the Time Thief Redoer. And we have a Decode Talker which can tribute like 2 cards. So it's actually a really good field during the turn your opponent's gonna have. In the main phase, you're gonna use the Rank Up Magic Launch. You're gonna use it on the Time Thief Redoer. Don't use this card's effect in the standby phase unless you're 100% sure that you're going to get a spell card or a trap card. Because if you're getting a monster, this thing will have to banish itself until the end phase again, and you can't use the Rank Up Magic Launch. Now, if you're playing against Sky Striker, it's actually a viable option to try and use the effect in the standby phase. If you get a spell card, you can, in the main phase, if they do something, you use this effect, you draw a card, and then you can chain the Rank Up Magic Launch. So you'll still get the Azathoth. And because a Dark Exceed monster has been summoned to a zone the Rusty Barge points to, you get to destroy 1 card on the field. So you can just destroy whatever they summoned, whatever they activated, and go from there. I really like this field. It immediately shows what I try to do with this build. Could be cute. So, yeah. You have 2 Spell and Trap Negators. You have Decode Talker for possible Widow Anchors, Afterburners. Like anything that targets really, so yeah, I think this field is actually pretty fine. As you see, I'm not playing the Zephyr engine anymore because I think going to display is more important. I like sending the chronograph from the Electromite. I like just fixing my hand, getting a Harmonizing, getting the White Wing so I can summon Borreload Savage Dragon. It are all viable options. Now at this point, in this scenario, I obviously got a bit lucky by drawing the Shrine, but that's the exact reason I'm playing the Strudo. Like, drawing Shrine of Electromite, I think every Pendulum player knows what it is. It happens like all the time, so yeah. Got a little bit of a cough apparently. So yeah, we're going to do the second test hand. And we're going to see what we get again. I didn't brick at all, I was happy with that. Darkworm plus Pendulum Call is always a strong play. So, and having the Harmonizing on top of that is really good. Just make sure you can go with your most versatile play. Oh, this is the top. So, next opening hand. We have Harmonizing, we have Darkworm, Mythical Beastmaster Cerberus, a Chronograph, and a Wisdom Eye. Once again, a really good hand. I'm going to show you something else that you can do with this. Because it's a... You have a Chronograph, you have the Darkworm, you have the Mythical Beastmaster Cerberus. I'm not gonna go for the Jackal King right here. So I'm gonna go with Cerberus. I'm gonna use its effect. And I'm going to add Mythical Beast Basilisk to my hand. So we have the Basilisk. At this point at resolution, we're going to trigger the Chronograph, and we're going to special summon it alongside the Darkworm. Darkworm effect is going to trigger, getting ourselves a Gate 0. Now at this point, making the Electromite. And using its effect. Now, what are we going to use the effect for? We already have a Harmonizing, we have a Wisdom Eye, so we can go for Oath Dragon as it is. I'm just gonna go for another Chronograph. Although I already have Chronograph as well, I don't think I even have to use the Electromite here, but I'm gonna go for Wisdom Eye then. The White Wing, I'm sorry. So White Wing Magician. I think White Wing can come in handy right here. We haven't used our normal summon as of yet, so that could be really good. And let's see what we'll get. We're gonna use the Basilisk's effect. We're gonna use it. We're going to put the Master Cerberus back into the deck by destroying this. Gonna shuffle up, we're gonna draw a card. Of course I can totally brick right here, drawing a PK card. I don't really care. It's Dragon Shrine. Once again, I can go for the Strudo. At this point, Electromite is going to trigger because the Basilisk had destroyed itself. So we get another draw. And it's another Wisdom Eye. Well, would you look at that? That's just awesome. At this point, Wisdom, Wisdom. I don't even think that I have to explain this. We're gonna go for Oath Dragon. So Wisdom again. I'm gonna go for Dragon Pit. This is just broken if you ask me. Two draws that I got from the Basilisk and the Electromite were perfect. Like it should in this deck. I mean, it's not that hard, so... I don't have any level 7s as of yet in the extra deck. So it could be hard to make. I'm looking at it. I think I can still get it at this point without using the Oath, without using the Electromite. So I'm just gonna go for it. And from the extra deck, I'm going to summon the Darkworm because I want to go for a Time Thief before I go for my Absolute play. I want to be able, with the Oath Dragon, to search any of these back to my hand, so that's still good. I'm going to pick a Wisdom Eye. I'm going to Pendulum the Gate 0 and a Harmonizing. Harmonizing is going to trigger. I'm going to go for another level 7 because, yeah, I mean, look at the board. If I don't go for another level 7, I'm crazy. So, Janke Magician, you're up. I'm going to overlay. I'm gonna do the same series of plays again. I'm gonna make the Time Thief Redoer. I'm gonna use its effect. So by detaching a monster, this thing banishes itself. Wisdom Eye also goes to the graveyard here. I'm going to make an Absolute Dragon. Oh, Absolute is in the extra deck. Like this. I'm going to link the Absolute with the Harmonizing. I'm going to make an Underclock. And then Absolute is going to trigger summoning a Vortex. And at this point we have to go and see what we want. We haven't used our normal summon yet, we haven't used our Electromite yet, and we haven't used Oath Dragon Magician yet, which means we get 2 additional summons and we get a Dragon Shrine. Although we have to be wary because we really want the Underclock Taker, but I do think we can actually summon an additional rank 4 right here, or maybe the level 7 one, so we're going to look at that. So let's see. I'm going to use Oath Dragon's effect, of course, first, and I'm going to get back a Dark does seem the best.